Thanks for tuning into our podcast. We love having you here, and it's our mission to bring you all the latest and greatest tips, skills, and know-how to make you the best that you can be. We know that you have it in you, and we're going to show you how. Now, let's get started.
This episode is powered by Poddex.
Thank you for tuning in today. You are now listening to That Will Never Work podcast with your host, Maurice Chisholm. Thank you very much for tuning in today, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Guess what? You know, the topic for today is a real close and dear one for me. Today, I want to talk to you about the importance of your circle and who you surround yourself with. Sometimes we take for granted certain individuals and what they bring to our lives, right? And I'm saying that because a lot of times I talk about or I speak about the individual who encouraged me to start my own company at such a young age, right? But I didn't realize over the years who would influence me or encourage me over a period of time. And so I you know, when you're working in a 9-to-5 job, a lot of times you're surrounded with your coworkers, and you may befriend certain individuals at other departments because of, hey, you know what, we have lunch at the same time, or we meet up at the same break room at the same time every day, and then we just find some commonalities, if you will. Even when you have cousins and extended cousins and in-laws and things like that, you know, you find some commonality, if you will. And sometimes you don't know really what the true value is for that individual that comes into your life. And a lot of times we keep things in a neutral space, a lot of times. And once we come across a situation where there's some controversy or things that contradicts or things like that, we tend to run away from those opportunities of growth. So what I'm getting at is we had a family member that passed, and he was an in-law for me, and an older gentleman. He was well into his 80s. And I listened to his children and grandchildren, and you know, I listened to how they have missed opportunities to grow and to challenge themselves, because this gentleman, he was able to pull himself up by the bootstraps, quote unquote, right? You know, he was from the streets of North Philadelphia, and he ended up becoming an engineer with Scott paper towels. For those of you, when I say Scott, you know, you wouldn't know what I mean, but if I say paper towels, you might know a little bit better. But he was able to become a major influence with other individuals that that he had come across. And sometimes, if we're not surrounded by the right individuals and or take for granted those individuals, sometimes we're not going to reach what our goals are. If that one person that's not going to press us and they always agree, we are no longer challenged to become a better version of ourselves. This individual that I'm referring to right now, he challenged all the time, you know. So for myself, he encouraged me to become, he didn't encourage me to become a member of this fraternity, but But once I became a member and I would see him all the time, he always talked about how proud he was of me and seeing me doing the right thing and not allowing outside, influences or voices to take me off of track. He's not hearing me having inappropriate relationships and things like that, because for me, I wanted to make this individual proud of me any and every time he saw me, let alone just my own personal morals and obligations. And that's just me personally. I don't knock anyone who's doing whatever they got to do. I just know me personally, how I feel. So he didn't hear about any stories like that. And because I want to make him proud of me and my family and what we were trying to accomplish, I tried everything in my power to do the right thing, if you will. And when I was talk to him, as I'm talking with him, having conversations, eating lunch, dinner at a banquet, whatever it might have been, on the numerous occasions I've come across him, he would impart some little nuggets, in my life that actually influence and encourage me to move forward and not to be afraid to come across adversity, any other judgments, any roadblocks. He encouraged it to face it head on and move forward. Now, granted, of course, you come across those things and, you second guess yourself and like, yo, do I really need to go through this? Do I really need to handle this? Do I really want to face this situation? And understanding that this one individual, because of his background, how many obstacles he had to overcome to get to the place that he was. So what I'm getting at for you today is, are you putting yourself in position to be elevated? Are you surrounding yourself in company with individuals that are going to make you better? Not individuals that's going to just cheer you on. That doesn't always work. Sometimes you need a cheerleader. Yeah, you do, but you also need someone that's going to challenge you mentally, emotionally, and physically. And for those individuals that need it spiritually, you need someone that's going to be that well-rounded individual or individuals that's going to push you to greater heights. We all need that. We all should want that to some degree. And we all probably do, but are you ready to deal with the consequences of that? Some of us aren't. So I encourage you today to be diligent in becoming the best version of you by surrounding yourself with those that will challenge you, that will not always agree with you, those that will say to you, you could do better now. Sometimes that's a very hard pill to swallow. And you could say, hey, you know what? I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I can with the resources that I have. Well, have you looked for any more resources? Have you asked any more questions? Have you taken the time to do the research required to move forward? Have you read enough books? Have you listened to enough audiobooks or podcasts? Have you taken the moment to look at YouTube videos and or, right now, I'm on Comcast. So they are promoting other resources that can make you better, working out, things like that. Same thing with Apple or whoever it is. If you take a look at what they're providing resources for every single person to become a better version of themselves. So I challenge you today. Surround yourself with individuals that's going to make you better. Thank you.
Loved what you've heard on this week's episode? Well, the answer is simple. It would mean the world to us if you could head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and feedback. Spreading the word really is the best way to grow our podcast and achieve even greater things. Thank you.